Good morning.
I'll get a mark, shortly mark all that out. I'll cover that up. No, you'll be able to get this. Well, I don't get this every year, man, is that what you mean?
Okay, we'll try one in a minute. So we'll get with you soon. Okay, appreciate it. Yes, sir, what can I do for you?
How you doing?
Hi.
I'm Shane Bruce.
Shane Bruce,
I
okay?
actually voted for you.
Well, you made one good move in your life. I don't know. Have a seat, sir. You do anything great?
No, I'm all right.
What's up, buddy?
We got a situation, and the county will be hooted about it probably. Not that that's new. But for 25 years, apparently, we have a medical examiner that's just refused to do anything to do with his job. As far as Dr. Klein, Elijah Klein. Now, you know he's part of the mayor's office, right?
No, he's not.
The mayor hires and fires the medical examiner according to Tennessee code.
Mayor hires nobody in this county.
Well,
The mayor can appoint,
right.
but the commission has to agree to it.
Well, I was coming to you
But
because
anyway,
I was about to go to
it is what it is. What's the deal?
Well, the problem is, it seems like nobody understands the regulations of their jobs in the county, first of all. But he has refused every complaint about neglect and abuse in the county for 25 years. I have audio recordings of him. And that's against regs because anybody can raise a complaint to the ME. That's the point of the ME's office. He's not part of the Department of Justice. He's part of the executive branch, your branch, to forestay any corruption of the, say, DA's office or anything else. He's a backup collateral to say that there's been a unnatural death or something else, whether it's prosecuted or not, and he directs all inquiries into unnatural deaths, or natural deaths for that matter. And that's his job to decide whether they have to be investigated or not. And he also directs the investigation. So basically, if he's not doing his job, neither can the DA or the sheriff or anybody else, oddly enough. It's probably an error in the infrastructure that they can't operate independently. But it comes from the medical examiner's office. Now, the thing is, I have recordings of him where he says that any death that happens in the hospital, he will consider a natural death. He's basically been covering for the hospital for 25 years, covering up every unnatural death that they've had. And that is just one huge criminal conspiracy that rises. I mean, it's a horrible beast. At that point, he basically says he will not question the hospital. He says that the hospital, I have 3 hours recordings of him on the phone. He basically says the hospital directs him to, and he'll do whatever they say. And that is just not filling that position. In fact, it's acting directly contrary. He's a belligerent, and he there's 2 or 3 regs. I read one reg to him saying that he's supposed to direct those, and he acts like he doesn't know what's going on, that he's just a country bumpkin, and that us hillbillies basically, essentially, to paraphrase, shouldn't question something like a big institution like a hospital. And apparently he's been saying this to every family, hundreds of cases for 25 years. I mean, that would be a center of rotten corruption in the county. I mean, it's bad. It's about as bad as it probably can get. And just in that one guy, because the courts want a doctor's opinion on anything before they act, and it's the ME's jurisdiction, and nobody can challenge that. The thing that happened was my mom basically killed my dad. It's a sad story. she's crazy. They had a fight back in 1984, and for however long, what is that, 50 years, she's been just wanting to get him. It's just right in the mind. I don't know. I mean, we have millions of dollars of estates, but it's not that much different, I suppose. If someone gets a burr under their thing, they separated for 2 years, and he left her homeless in Kentucky while we came down here and built lake houses.
What's his name?
Okie Jackson, the late Okie Jackson.
How do I know that name?
He was pretty big. He had a foster home for 10 years called Canaan Foster Home. Had 15 boys. He buys property left and right, flipping houses, built her own houses. Probably it might be from this. It might be from
Marty Jackson.
Mm-hmm. No, I don't know that Jacksons have any immediate relatives. I met a 32nd cousin on my Bruce side, on my mom's side.
Your mom was Bruce.
Actually, I changed my name to a great-great-grandfather, and that's how I found out that Bruce. There you Bruce too, and I found out we had a Robert the Bruce and there William the Bruce, who were brothers back in 1300s or something.
Days.
Yeah. But I mean, the entire same group of people moved from Scotland and Ireland over to here because of the mountains.
So basically, you're saying. You're complaining about Dr. Klein. You're saying he needs to be looked at. Is what you're saying?
Right. Okay. I'm suing my mother and my brother for killing my dad, wrongful death.
Okay, that was back in sometime.
2017.
2000. I thought it was 84.
Oh, they had a fight back in '84.
Oh.
But basically.
God, they should give a long time.
What happened is. He started taking something called Flomax, which is an alpha blocker, which blocks alphas in the vascular system. They expand. The problem is the alpha blocker also, in 1 out of 100, will block the alphas in the brain. So he had amnesia. He had a drug-induced amnesia, temporary. If he had stopped taking it, he would have been fine. But they just jumped him. I mean, it also causes a insulin resistance, so they started giving him sugar to keep him knocked out. Because I guess they didn't want his righteous mouth or whatever else. I mean, it was just one of those things. And I think they got. I was there, and I'm even guessing this. My brother and my mother had formed a relationship back in 1982 or something. And they separated from 82. Anyway, it's just terrible. But anyway, my mom was.
It's somewhere you don't want to go.
Yeah.
We'll just leave that aside.
I don't even want to know that. I know there was nudity and closed doors. Is all I don't even
know that stuff.
But anyway, it forms a Jocasta complex, which is like an Oedipus, but also includes some other, where they join forces and turn against a father. It's a common mental illness, they call it. So anyways, they kept him, and then they put him in the hospital, and then they gave him dextrose injections. My mom is also an RN at the hospital. And somehow, even though I was there protesting the sugar, and that he'd also been arsenic poisoned, saying, look, you can't give him sugar, they were giving him dextrose injections, and while he was basically in a diabetic coma, they also gave him opioid anesthetic, and he went into renal failure. And while he was in renal failure, they transferred him to UT. I mean, he's basically dead at this point. He's on life support, but basically he's dead for all intents and purposes. And they marked his cause of death as frontal lobe deterioration. They said it was a brain injury, but I've looked at the reports from UT. His CT on his brain comes back completely healthy. There was no defects whatsoever. So they falsified a cause of death. So this is where I get the medical examiner involved. And I should have got the medical examiner involved to begin with, but nobody does that because he's been saying no for 25 years. It's just a dead area.
If you disagree with that, you should have a lawyer.
Well, I'm suing. I mean anybody can sue.
You should have a lawyer investigate UT or whoever give that medicine.
I am, for the last year at Pemberton, I'm on my 5th judge, and I'm on my 3rd assistant DA.
Is this happening at UT Medical Center? Well,
they transferred him to UT from Tenova after he was dead.
But UT said he was okay.
And UT, they transferred him for, I got to realize, my mom's an RN, that's a nurse of the register. That means she controls the records. So she knows what to say in order to cover up a death. I mean, I'm blaming this entirely on my mom. But along the way, and I was going to say her and maybe a couple of nurses was all we had to look at.
Well, she's not still nursing, is she?
Yes, she is. They still hire her. Apparently, her
What's
best
her
friend,
name?
Carolyn Jackson, and she's killed a few people, but back in the day. But she went into psychiatric nursing. We thought, well, she can't do any damage there. But my mom was a beast. I was raised on goblins and ghouls, the Addams Family kind of thing, which I went to ComSec and served me well. I was in organized crime. I was a programmer giving lectures in Washington. I mean, I had a pretty good career trying to fight this kind of thing.
Back in the day.
Yeah, well, that's before they slandered me, attacked me, and that kind of thing. But anyways, yeah, I was once the spooky guy. But and it wasn't until it didn't become a political problem in my mind until I talked to Dr. Klein and realized we got a nutter. I mean, a bad nutter in the ME's office. And I have the recordings online if you to look at them. I can show you where those are along with the motions, regulations I'm popping up. I mean, it's very, very clear.
I'll keep a record that I had a complaint on this complaint. I have no other complaints. And see what happens and go from there.
Basically, he's saying that if it happens off the hospital ground, he would declare unnatural. As soon as it's on the hospital property, he declares it natural. It's not a.
What's the first one? Natural and
unnatural.
Oh.
There's like 4 or 5
Gotcha,
different kinds of
gotcha.
death. There's natural and unnatural.
Gotcha.
The unnatural goes into accidental, homicide, murder, neglect, whatever else, premeditated murder.
Okay, it's not really my understanding that that's what he does. My understanding is that when they die, he signs off on
we
the
got
death.
25 years
But
being told
most
what
of
to
them
do.
are just looking at, they're 90 years old when they fell dead. Okay, they look at the medical records mostly and go, I understand it's an upgrade.
Well,
but if there's a sign of a crime, then the police call TBI in.
All right.
And I know they did at the Valley, had a guy shoot a woman, and they shut down the road. You couldn't even drive in there for 24 hours. TBI come in, brought their forensic people. I know he's not a forensic guy at all. He's a paperwork guy, apparently.
Oh yeah, I think he rubber stamps whatever comes his way and does it.
I'm pretty sure locally we don't have a forensic examination.
And I've been planning to go before the commission saying this guy's been ripping off the county for 25 years. Because what's supposed to happen, he's supposed to get out there and the medical examiner is supposed to be out there getting his feet dirty in the field. And
that would be a forensic examiner, I believe.
Well, medical examiner, same thing.
The way I understand, I understand there's difference.
That's the way I but the medical examiner is supposed to be out there directing. He's supposed to be out there deciding what
I'd have to research it.
Well, I have a couple
of. I'm at loss.
I know. You're a new mayor, and oh my God, there's probably something like 1,000 pages of regulations that you're supposed to know.
I'm probably not going to read it.
Well, you read them. That's your.
It's going to take me about 20 years to read.
You're the quarterback, and that's your playbook, and you'll be surprised by how much power you have.
Yeah.
And
you'll be surprised how much I don't have.
Well, that's because you haven't read the regulation. But
arguably, that's because I got 8 votes.
8 votes?
You have to take 8 votes. Well, you got a county commission.
Oh, anyways, the medical examiner is arguably one of the most powerful people as far as a hospital in the county, because he can go in. He's allowed to pull up any medical record. He's allowed to question any doctor.
Yes.
And a judge can't do that. I mean, they have to go through and get warrants, find a judge, and everything else.
That's based on the idea, though, that they're not criminal.
Right. That's based on
the idea that everything's the way it should be.
And you
just look at the records. Records should be accurate.
Right.
The doctor should tell you.
Well, we've gone through the records, and he on the phone will agree with me that it's renal failure.
Yeah.
He'll agree, but then he says some cockamamie thing like, well, the cause of death on the death certificate is mostly to notify the family, and since you know it, we don't have to change it. It doesn't have any relevance as far as. And I'm like, it's an official government document. It's fraud. It's
the only way they can really. Well, maybe I'm wrong. I'm thinking the only way they can really change is the TBI.
Well, we can fire. Well, there's TBI, but the TBI won't accept a complaint unless it comes from like the DA. And the DA's working on this. On the
Well-
third DA, the last one, there was a DA. Did you know a DA named Eric? He was looking at this. Apparently, he went
Eric.
crazy. Eric Montosil.
I know well, the big DA is Effler.
Yeah, he's over in like Jefferson County.
He's
or
back
somewhere.
and forth. He goes everywhere. Effler.
He's probably not even heard of this, even though I'm on my third assistant DA. But apparently Eric went crazy. He I don't know if he's fired or quit, but he's now temporarily suspended because he forgot to file stuff. He's just went off
He's got fired.
Yeah. Well, his license is temporarily suspended even. So the
You
guy out.
better find you another DA. Buddy.
Yeah, I'm working on my third DA at this
No,
point.
listen. If it's criminal, if you think there's a criminal thing there, take the sheriff
Right.
or take it there. I have no idea.
But you can the thing that could be decisive rather than this is the executive power is you can fire them and we can get another ME in here.
Yeah, I'm not gonna fire.
Well,
Straight out for I would have to have stacks of reasons.
Well, I'm bringing a stack.
You come with one. I mean, you're
I've got
one
three,
idea.
and I have.
And
3
I ain't
hours
saying that's
recording.
wrong. I'm not saying that's wrong, son. I'm just saying I can't do that based on somebody coming and tell me something. I'd have to.
That's why I have recording. If you look on your
I
computer, I
agree.
can point you at the
Yeah,
files.
I understand, but I'm saying it's not. Not over one thing. It has to be either something criminal,
It is. It
and
is.
it has to. There's the criminal people. If they do
Right.
something criminal, then I'll take it. Otherwise, I'm out. But
That's
I
what.
won't be able to do it without the commission anyway.
Well, I'm about to go before the commission, and since this is your office, I'll
Well,
be digging at. You know,
It's. I don't know.
I wanted to come here first.
I'd
before I
stick
did-
with the DA first.
Yeah, well, there's a DA, and he's working on it. I mean, this is something the county is incredibly liable for. I mean, he's covered up deaths of probably hundreds of people, maybe dozens, for sure,
Well-
hundreds possibly.
We could say maybe and possibly, but we don't know.
Well, I know of at least one. You
And
see one
that's-
cockroach.
yeah,
you see 'em
one's
all.
enough,
But
yeah.
basically, what you got is, say you're a farmer and you got cattle, and you got some guy going there and giving injections to your cattle, and some of them are dying, and he says, "So what?" Except it's your
We're helping
constituency and your people.
We're helping the others.
Yeah, I mean, the good person takes office for fear of what happens to somebody who's
It's kind
not
of like
going to
giving,
take
it's
it.
kind of like giving measles. We give you a shot, you won't get the measles, but it kills 5 people. You said,
Except we
I
don't
understand.
have- But if you look on your computer, I'll link you up with the recording so you can hear them yourself.
I'll look at it later. I've got another appointment coming up.
All right, do you have an email, and I'll send you the link?
It's Mayor Lynch. That's all it is. Mayor Lynch at Campbell County.
Is that one word? Is there any periods?
No, nothing.
Mayor Lynch at campbellcounty.org?
Gov.
Gov.
Gov.com.
Gov.com.
Yeah.
Is that period gov or Campbell County Gov, all one word.com?
I think there's
It's
one
on
on
your-
that card. Right
Your
there.
card? All right.
Is it on there? Yeah, but that's not a capital. That's
But-
just they put a capital on it. It shouldn't be.
Really, it's like it's his duty. It's also kind of your duty, and it's a dead area. I mean, it's the muscles of the government of the Campbell County government has atrophied because he's been there for
somebody
25
come in,
years telling people don't know.
look at it from my point and say, here's the thing.
And plus, he's like 75 years old, and he's never
He's
done
not going to be
anything.
there long anyway.
Yeah, I mean, but it's
but-
every day that he's there is another possibility of a murder being covered up.
And he's cheap. But now here's the truth.
Well, not if he's robbing you.
Oh yeah, here we go. If we got some guy out there running ambulance service, then we have a lot of trouble. And I get complaints on him, and I understand, And I go to him and ask him to do better with it.
Right.
That's about my place in life. If he doesn't, eventually, we'll have to do something eventually.
You're part of the executive office. DOD is part of the executive office. I wore a sword on my sword, the ROTC. It's more about decisive decisions.
Yeah.
Not that the office hasn't been shut down for 25 years.
Yeah.
And you're coming back from a negative. But it's possible that the mayor is actually can do a whole lot more than you think a mayor's office can do, because the
It's
problem.
not what Nashville says.
Well, no, here's the problem. People are telling people what they're doing rather than looking at regulations. And so you got a hospital telling Dr. Klein what to do, and Dr. Klein's belligerent against regulations and what's
Well,
doing his job.
he should not have anything to the hospital. He should simply look at the
Right.
paperwork and make sure
And
that
I have
if he had heart conditions,
3 hours of recordings of him
stuff like that.
just basically saying that he's a hospital's boy. And
That's-
it's crazy.
I don't know. That's what I'm saying. It's tough. It's a tough call in one setting anyway.
I don't think so, but not with the 3 hours of recording. Because I'm sitting there going, "Oh my God, Campbell County is one lawless place."
If you
And that's
think,
that's
but
really
now
what I'm
listen,
telling the Board of Professional Reviews at this point.
seriously, if you think there's a crime, go to sheriff or DA.
Right.
They're both good people.
The guy I'm talking to now, Eric was just and Leslie Cato is also a little off. And they finally got, after 3 of them, all right, but 5 judges, because 3 of them had conflicts of interest.
I don't even know any of them people.
There was like Judge Ayer.
Yeah.
He was hired to be on this board for Campbell County Healthcare,
Yeah.
which gets grants for the hospital, so
Yeah.
he's a conflict of interest.
Right.
So the DA is not going to take anything to this judge. They
The
have to go for a
only-
judge
the
outside
only-
of this county.
The
And-
only
and-
DA I know is Ethel. He's the only one I've ever met.
Well, he's
But he's a good guy.
He's a politician.
Yeah,
And-
he is. And the sheriff's a good man.
That could be so.
I think he is. And I'd advise you to see him and talk to him.
But,
And your name is Bruce, Mr. Bruce.
Yeah,
I'll write it down.
links. And once you hear those voice recordings, I think they are so disturbing. I think that you'll want to take some kind of action.
Okay.
Because they are just, frankly, demoralizing would be one thing, but no, they're just, it's just something that can't fly, something that can't stand. It's something so bad that
Just a bad deal.
yeah, that's kind of from the cause and result. Back in the day, back when my family and these churches were big,
Robert and Bruce that got
no,
bad with
there was these torches and castles being stolen and burned.
See you, man.
Sure.
Morning.